So now we get into when I was at university and the first short film that I worked on. Now, these days it's very common for a lot of universities that are not focused on specifically filmmaking to start you off with doing documentaries, which is another reason why documentary films are so prevalent these days, which is what we started off with as well. And this particular one was a basically sort of examination of finding where your home is and the difficulties of leaving somewhere that you've lived for a long time to come to somewhere new. And I was relating that to what I was going through having gone to university, because it was the first time I lived anywhere besides my parents' house. And given that I went to Sussex University, which is one of the most multicultural universities in the UK, it made sense to also talk to people who were not from this country, because they had to come so much further. I don't know who came up with this idea originally, because I was working in a group of about 4. I remember mentioning the idea of the difficulties of moving away from home, and I think it kind of snowballed from there. So whose idea it was, I'm not certain, but it was definitely a collaborative effort. But this was also where I learned a lot about the seriousness of being a filmmaker, because with the previous examples of my YouTube channel, which was completely run by me, so I had the freedom to do whatever I wanted, and having come from a comprehensive school environment, I wasn't that focused on deadlines and the urgency of something that needed to be made right away, because I tended to just go, yeah, we can do that, and then just do nothing for several months until I just bothered to get around to it. This was the situation where when one of my tutors really hammered it in, you've only got a few weeks, you need to get this done, you've not even filmed any footage yet, I freaked out massively. But in a way, I think it also showed the kind of attitude I have when I'm under pressure, where I could have cracked, and to be fair, in a sense I did crack a little bit, but the pressure of what I was under made me kind of straighten up and fly right, because instead of just kind of cowering in the corner, I decided to take charge, where I said to everybody, look, he was right, we've only got so much to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, I'm going to do this, and I kind of got everything going in the right direction. Whether the people who I was working with genuinely were listening to me because I was a good leader, or if they were just going along with it because they were like, well, we've got no other ideas, let's just have him do this, and if it turns out to be shit, we can just blame him. But in any case, I do remember a lot of them saying, you're working really hard, and I really appreciate you pushing us in the right direction. So that did kind of show that I had the leadership abilities in a crisis. I'm not going to say I'm an amazing leader, but in many cases I feel that if there is a crisis, I'm usually the one people turn to, and I'm quite proud of that. Yeah, this particular documentary didn't turn out great because of the crunch we were under, but again, I think that how it even got made is a better example of my work than the end result. But either way, here it is.
All of that gives most young people a real feeling of self-esteem, of, I am autonomous, I do have free will, I can be an active agent in this world. It gives people generally a good sense of independence and well-being.
There's pros and cons, like I obviously miss my friends and stuff at home, but I've made loads of more new ones, and I think they're more my type of people, because obviously I've joined societies and I'm doing the course that I like, so I think it suits me better here because obviously I'm doing what I enjoy. So maybe the first couple of weeks I felt a bit alienated, but then when I got into it and met loads of nice people and things, I really come out of my shell and feel really confident now.
Well, somehow I might feel myself fitted into the UK, and then sometimes it might be alienated, but I will try my best to get along with people in this country. Why I would say that I'm fitted into the society? It's like I know the language and I speak English, maybe. Or maybe for most of the time, I would speak in the local language here, and then it's quite. I don't feel stressful for speaking English.
Well, it very much depends on people's individual personalities and also their own family history. If they've been really quite independent, doing a lot of things, say with friends, perhaps had part-time work, were kind of very much already kind of starting to become engaged in the adult kind of outside world and quite autonomous, then the transition can be really quite smooth and not represent a huge sort of psychological shift. And then on the other extreme, you can have some individuals who have not had any outside employment, been very much kind of stayed within the bosom of the home.
Like, they don't worry about me at all. I'm the eldest. I've got 2 younger sisters, so I'm quite mature, I think, and I'm quite independent, so I'm not really missing home. I haven't been, although I've been back 4 times, but there was specific reasons. But my parents are happy, they're so proud of me, they're happy I'm doing this. I'm the first to go to uni out of my family, so I think they're, happy and proud, I hope.
It's weird because whenever I talk to my uni friends, I call Littlehampton home, and whenever I talk to my parents and friends from Littlehampton, I call this home, so I call both home, which is strange.
I was a bit excited because it's the first time that I'm detached from my family, especially from my parents. So I'm quite excited for this, and sometimes nervous because of the same reason. And I have to live in a country or a place which I have never been to.
You're having to work really hard, you're having to, put on a brave face, you're having to conquer all kinds of social as well as practical issues, as well as intellectual academic kind of challenges. But facing those challenges and being, at least reasonably successful gives people a wonderful feeling of achievement, of competence, which they would never be able to have that feeling of achievement if they always stayed within their comfort zone.
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to go and visit my website, which has more for you to see and more information about me. Or if you want to check out more of what I'm like as a person, check out my other YouTube channel where I do comedy shows and reviews in a very comedic style. So, I'll see you there. Bye.